Okay, so today I'm going to go over one of the concepts from the week, which is the Maclaurin series. So this is one of our problems from the homework, and I'm just going to explain step by step what I'm doing and just explain how the Maclaurin series works. So the Maclaurin series has this format. It is f of t. Sorry, it's gonna be hard to write into it. F of t equals, and it's f of 0 plus f prime of 0 plus f double prime of 0 divided by 2 factorial plus f triple prime of 0 divided by 3 factorial plus f quadruple prime of 0 divided by 4 factorial t to the 4th. And this continues on, and we get this pattern that we can see, which is f of k to the 0 times k factorial t to the k. So this is what we are trying to get our problem, our series into. And so we're giving this function f of t equals ln of 1 plus t, and we're going till n equals 4. So in this case, our k is actually our n. So we're going till it's 4 factorial on the bottom, which I have already written out right here. So the first step in solving any of these problems is going to be finding y prime of our f of t. So we're just going to quickly find y prime. So y prime of t equals 1 over 1 plus t. Y double prime of t, sorry about that. Y double prime of t equals negative 1 over 1 plus t squared. Y triple prime of t equals 2 over 1 plus t to the 3rd. And finally, y quadruple prime of t equals negative 6 over 1 plus t to the 4th. And it switched off between negative and positive is because we have we're doing power rule on the bottom, on the denominator, so a negative has to come up. And then it flip-flops sign every time because we're multiplying negative by a negative, which creates a positive. So now, going back to our equation, we now have f prime, and now we want to plug, we have f prime, f double prime, f triple prime, and so on and so forth. And so now what we want to do is we want to plug in 0 as t into our equations and see what those equal. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say, so y, let's see, y of 0 equals ln of 1, and that just equals 0. Then we're going to do y prime of 0, and that's going to equal 1 over 1 minus 0, and that equals 1. Then we're going to do y double prime of 0, and that equals negative 1 over 1 minus 0, and that whole thing is squared. So that just gives us negative 1. Then we're going to do y trip prime of 0, which is 2 over 1 minus 0 squared, and that equals 2. Oh, that equals 2. And lastly, we're going to have y quadruple prime of 0, and that equals negative 6 over 1 minus 0, and that whole thing is to the 4th. And that equals negative 6. And sorry, I made a little mistake up here. It's not squared for our triple prime. It's actually to the 3rd power, if I believe. Yes, it's to the 3rd. Awesome. So now we have all the necessary information. We have f of 0, which is 0. We have f prime of 0, which is 1. We have f double prime of 0. Oh, and I actually made a mistake up here. This is supposed to be f prime of 0 t squared. F triple prime of 0, t to the third. So that way we are continuing on with our pattern that we can see. So lastly, our next step is just to plug in all of our values. So we're going to say f of t. Well, actually, our f of t, we have that function. Our f of t is ln of 1 plus t. And that equals the Maclaurin series of it. F of 0 is 0. Then we're going to add f prime of 0, which is 1. Okay, let's focus. And then we are going to add f double prime, which is a negative 1, over 2 factorial t squared. We're going to add our f triple prime, which is 2, over 3 factorial t to the third. And lastly, we're going to add our last term, which is plus a negative 6 over 4 factorial t to the fourth. And we always need to make sure we add plus dot 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 to show that this series will indeed go on forever. However, we can actually simplify this one more time. And so this will be ln. We can simplify the factorials. That equals 1 plus t equals 0 plus 1 minus 1/2 t squared plus 1/3 t to the third, and minus 1/4 t to the fourth plus dot dot dot. And we know this because 2 factorial is 2, 3 factorial is 6, and 4 factorial is 24. Just doing some basic algebra, we can see that this right here is our final algebra. And that is one whole problem using the Maclaurin series. Thank you.